There are many complex characters in anime. A very underrated example would have to be Homelander from The Boys. I read the comic book back in 2016, okay? This whole, what if superheroes were bad thing, you have to do more than that to get me hooked, okay? I read Brat Pack, Watchmen, The Red 10, which no one else fucking read, and also that last issue took like 2 years to fucking complete, but I read that. I pretty much read most superhero deconstruction comic books, and I gotta say, The Boys is pretty high up there. It's like Brat Pack, but with like lore and shit. The Boys is much more than superhero deconstruction. It's also about the post 9/11 Reagan LARPy bullshit that was going on at the time with all this crony corporate bullshit. It's that type of comic book. So no, Mr. No Bullshit, don't make a fucking rant video crying, "Stop putting SJW politics in my fucking comic books and shows," and don't fucking claim you're a fan of The Boys comic book, okay? Kind of like how you were like, "I'm a big Watchmen fan," and crying about the SJW politics in the Watchmen adaptation or some shit. Okay, Alan Moore is as left-wing as Varg is right-wing, so shut the fuck up. Anyway, I think The Boys TV show adaptation is actually pretty good. In fact, I actually kind of like it more than the comic. Yeah. There's a lot of differences, and I think it kind of helps the show more. I kind of like how there's more of this undercover mystery of Compound V, and they're going more into the supervillain aspect of how they are created. As much as I like the book, there's points in the comic book where they mention some really interesting things, but they never really go into it too much. Whereas I feel like the show, they are really digging down some of the more interesting things. Also, I kind of like what they do to the characters a bit. I kind of like how Butcher is more of a gritty British guy than a upbeat, "Oh, you fucking cut, fucking faggot," upbeat fucking type of British guy in the comic book. It's kind of hard to root for the latter. I like how they gave Frenchie and Mother's Milk a little bit more of conflict between each other. I like the way how they were both portrayed. I think what they're doing with the Chinese chick is more interesting. They're doing more with characters like A-Train and The Deep. And I certainly like what they're doing with Homelander a lot more. In the comics, Homelander is just a douchebag frat boy with bankrupt morals. Over time in the comic book, he slowly turns into a psychopath by mistake, and that's basically it. Homelander in the show is more of a sociopath, but there's a lot more going on with that. Homelander is a man born without any real free will, as he never had a choice, giving him a rather perverted view of the world, something that was casually mentioned in the comic books but never really viewed or seen. I think this Homelander is far more compelling than just the frat boy in the comic books. And yes, the ending is completely off the rails what happened in the comic book, and some people are complaining, saying it's too far from the comic book. It's creating its own story, and I have to say, good. I've already read the comic. I've already enjoyed the comic. I kind of want to see something new here. And I'm glad Season 2 is going to go completely different than the comic books. It's taking characters you liked from the comic books and putting them in new scenarios. I liked how the show is far different than the comic, okay? I really do. So, remember, you guys are the real heroes.